On a long, crowded train ride, an exhausted young mother accidentally fell asleep on the shoulder of a stranger. She woke embarrassed, but even more shocked when she learned who he really was, and what he had secretly done for her. The train was already full when Anna stepped on, her toddler clinging to her hand. The air was heavy with the smell of rain-soaked clothes and the faint rumble of the tracks beneath them. She had been on her feet since dawn, working a double shift at a small cafe, rushing to pick up her son from the neighbor who watched him, and now heading home across the city. Her legs ached, her back throbbed, and her eyelids felt like they carried the weight of the world. She scanned the crowded carriage, hoping for an empty seat. Everyone was taken, except one. A single spot beside a man in a sharp, dark suit, his polished shoes reflecting the dim overhead light. He sat with perfect posture, scrolling quietly through his phone, his face unreadable. Anna hesitated, feeling underdressed and out of place, but exhaustion overpowered her pride. She slid into the seat with a soft, "Thank you," and shifted her son into her lap. The train lurched forward, the steady hum vibrating through the seats. Her son leaned against her chest, already drifting to sleep. Anna stared at the window, watching the blurred city lights streak past, but the movement only made her eyes heavier. Without realizing it, her head tipped to the side, resting gently against the man's shoulder. She would have been mortified if she'd been awake. But in that moment, she didn't feel the cold stares of strangers or the noise of the train. She only felt warmth, stillness, and the rare luxury of being able to let go. And though she didn't know it yet, this stranger, silent and still beside her, was about to change her life forever. Anna stirred when the train slowed, the sound of the brakes screeching against the rails pulling her back from the edge of sleep. She blinked, disoriented, realizing her head was still resting on the man's shoulder. For a moment she panicked, sitting up too quickly, brushing her hair from her face, murmuring, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." The man looked at her calmly, his expression warm rather than annoyed. "It's all right," he said, his voice steady and deep. "You looked like you needed the rest." His words caught her off guard. Most people would have frowned or shifted away. He, instead, seemed almost understanding. Anna noticed, for the first time, the details she had missed earlier. His suit wasn't just neat, it was expensive, the kind she'd only ever seen on TV. His watch gleamed in the faint light, understated yet clearly costly. His presence was composed, almost commanding, yet there was a softness in his eyes that didn't match the image of a cold businessman she had imagined. Her son stirred in her lap, rubbing his eyes. The man's gaze softened even more as he looked at the boy. "Long day?" he asked. Anna let out a tired laugh. "Long year," she replied without thinking. They shared a small smile, the kind strangers exchange when words aren't enough to explain the weight they carry. As the train rolled into the next station, Anna prepared to stand, worried she might be taking up too much space in his evening. But then he surprised her. "If you don't mind," he said, "stay. I have a feeling your story isn't over yet." She didn't know what he meant, or why his words made her heart beat just a little faster. The train rattled on, the dim carriage lights flickering for a brief second as they passed through a tunnel. Anna shifted in her seat, unsure if she should respond to the man's unexpected words. Part of her wanted to stay quiet, afraid of oversharing with a stranger. But something about his calm presence felt safe, almost like speaking to someone who wouldn't judge. "It's been hard," she finally admitted, her voice low, almost drowned out by the sound of the wheels. "Work, rent, taking care of my son alone. Sometimes I feel like I'm running on fumes." She let out a small laugh, not because it was funny, but because she didn't know what else to do with the heaviness inside her. The man listened without interrupting, his eyes focused on her in a way that made her feel seen. "You're stronger than you think," he said softly. "Most people don't realize the weight you carry until they've tried walking in your shoes. And I can tell, you've been carrying more than your share." Anna wasn't used to kindness without conditions. She studied his face, trying to guess his story. "And you?" she asked. "What's your day been like?" He smiled faintly. "Complicated," Meetings, phone calls, endless decisions. People think I have it easy because of my position, but sometimes I wish I could just sit on a train and not have the world expect anything from me. She frowned, confused by the hint of weariness in his voice. What do you do? She asked. Before he could answer, the train slowed again, the loudspeaker announcing the next station. He looked at her, a mysterious glint in his eyes, and simply said, I'll tell you when we get there. The train screeched to a halt, the doors sliding open with a metallic sigh. A cool breeze rushed in from the platform, carrying the faint smell of rain. Anna hesitated, unsure if she should step off or stay seated. The man rose first, adjusting his coat, then looked back at her with an inviting nod. Come on. It's just for a moment. Against her better judgment, she followed, her son clutching her hand. They walked out into the quiet station, its dim lights casting long shadows across the empty floor. She noticed the way people on the platform looked at him, not with indifference, but with a subtle recognition, like they knew who he was but didn't dare approach. He led them toward a small cafe tucked away at the corner of the station. The warmth inside was a relief from the damp air outside. They took a seat by the window, and for the first time since she had met him, he seemed less guarded. I grew up not far from here, he began, stirring his coffee slowly. My mother worked 2 jobs. We didn't have much, but she taught me the value of helping someone when you can. I see her in you, the same strength, the same exhaustion, the same love for your child. Anna's throat tightened. She had no idea why his words struck so deeply, but she felt tears threatening to rise. Finally, she asked again, Who are you? This time, he didn't avoid the answer. He leaned back, a small, almost shy smile crossing his face. My name is Daniel Hayes. I'm the CEO of Hayes Enterprises. The name hit her like a wave, a name she'd heard on the news, a name tied to one of the largest companies in the country. Anna blinked, unsure if she had heard him correctly. Daniel Hayes, the man whose name was tied to skyscrapers, charity events, and billion-dollar deals, had just been the stranger who let her sleep on his shoulder. She sat frozen for a moment, unsure how to respond. Why didn't you say anything earlier? She asked quietly. He chuckled softly. Because tonight, I wasn't a CEO. I was just someone sitting next to a tired mother who needed rest. Her son stirred in his seat, rubbing his eyes. Daniel looked at the boy with a warm smile before reaching into his briefcase and pulling out a small envelope. I know this is sudden, but I want to help you, he said, sliding it across the table. Anna's instinct was to refuse. I can't take your money, she protested, her pride flaring. But Daniel shook his head. This isn't charity. Think of it as an investment, in you, in your son, in the future you both deserve. My mother once told me, if you're in a position to lift someone, don't hesitate. I'm just doing what she taught me. With trembling hands, Anna opened the envelope. Inside was a check, enough to clear her debts, secure a better home, and give her breathing room she hadn't felt in years. Her vision blurred as tears filled her eyes. Thank you, she whispered, her voice breaking. You have no idea what this means. Daniel smiled gently. One day, you'll be in a position to help someone else. And when that happens, you'll know exactly what to do. As the train rolled away in the distance, Anna knew she would never forget this night, not because she met a CEO, but because she met a man who still believed in kindness. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Human Fables for more real stories that inspire and move you.